I directly want to open the floor to Martin Brown. Martin, are you with us?
Yes, I am indeed. I'll just switch my mute on.
I will say some words about you. Martin calls himself a sustainability provocateur. He is a consultant and author, the vice president of the Living Future Europe Network, and the founder of the Zoom Regenerative sessions, and much more. And I'm glad to have Martin here. And you will tell us more about the Working Package 1. Thank you, Martin.
Absolutely. And good morning, everyone, and many thanks for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be amongst Restore people once again. It's a real pity we're getting to the end of a fantastic program. But yeah, I'd just like to take 20 minutes or so just to introduce Work Package 1 for those who may not be familiar with what we did nearly 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and as a refresher for those who are involved. One of the outcomes from the Work Package 1 was to establish a vision for Restore. And over a number of meetings, which I'll go into in a moment, we ended up on this vision: well-being and love from the awareness of our planet. That seems a million miles away from a technical built environment approach. But the workshops and the training schools we did in Work Package 1 really started to open up our minds and our thoughts around what does Restore mean, what does sustainability mean, regenerative, etc. One of the most important meetings we had was the event in Faro, where we met and developed the amazing Faro papers. We did have a good number of brainstorming sessions, and we had I think we had 2 rooms actually completely full with post-it notes all the way around. And you can see, if you look closely in these, and you'll be able to see the slides later, how things like the eco-seva were developed in the context of Restore, and how we started to develop this chart here with which became an icon for the Restore program. So I have a cat walking across my screen at the moment, about to walk across my screen. So sorry to be distracted. Yeah, so we're working with some absolutely brilliant people, beautiful people. We developed a number of outputs. But one of the key messages from that first meeting in Faro, and which went all the way through the working group 1 and into the training school, which I'll talk about in a moment, was this quote from Ardo Leopold in Sound County Almanac, which is probably one of the most important environmental books over the last century. To teach the student to see the land, understand what he sees, and enjoy what he understands. Bear in mind, writing in 1940s, the use of the he pronoun was accepted. Probably wouldn't be today, of course. And when we talk about the land, we're talking about the earth, we're talking about the planet, we're talking about our ecosystems, to really understand those. It was a real pleasure to work on this initial booklet for Restore, and to start to establish definitions for sustainability, restorative, and regenerative. And we spent a lot of time looking at the language of sustainability as being incredibly important. The language can inspire, or it can be a mask which people can hide behind and greenwash. But you'll see here our definitions. Sustainability was just limiting impact, the balancing point where we give back as much as we take. In fact, it was Yvonne Chouinard who famously said that we should not use the word sustainability until we're giving more back than we take from the environment, than we take from the people we're working with. And then we move to restorative sustainability, which is restoring our ecological systems, our living systems, social systems back to a healthy state. And then we have the regenerative, where we push that even further, and we enable those restored states to move on and to thrive. An important word there, to thrive. I mentioned the eco-SIVA. This is something which I picked up on, and I know a lot of other people have, as the way forward for sustainability for regenerative. Now, if you think about 100 years ago, we had big egos, we could do what we want, nobody paid any attention. We could exploit people, we could exploit the planet, we could dump things in the sea, and we got into a bit of a mess. The eco period, well, that's the eco-friendly, that's the last 20, 30, 40 years or so, which has been most of our careers. And I like to frame that from the Brundtland definition of 1987, where we pledged to do nothing today to compromise tomorrow's generation. But I'll show you in a moment, that's not moving the needle in the right direction. And we need to move to a new mindset, which we've called SIVA, many others have called SIVA, where we see ourselves as part of the nature, part of the living system, not apart from nature. And just to show why that's not working, if we plot these famous charts onto here, this is temperature increases going back from 1900s and pushed forward to 2100. And you can see that white band down the middle there, which is our eco period. And we failed. We're passing on to the next generation a worse situation than we inherited. So we need to be doing something very different. And yet what we're going to do very differently is this cliff edge. I mean, this could be carbon, this could be temperature, this could be biodiversity issues, ecology issues. The next 5 to 10 years are going to be so important as we turn the trend from an upward climb to that downward climb, an improvement climb. And we're not going to do that with the same mindset that we had from the past. One of the focuses of the Working Group 1 and all the way through the Restore was about regenerative economy. And we spent some time looking at the definitions here. Pulled the definition from Carol Sanford, which you can read. But the opposite to that is the degenerative economy, which is based on growth at the expense of social and environmental impact. And unfortunately, that still remains the dominant discourse. We need to move from the degenerative up to the regenerative economy. But when we think about economy, we think about spreadsheets, we think about numbers, we think about really heavy stuff. And at the same time, Working Group 1 was meeting this quote up here from Ed Gillespie in one of his fantastic blogs. And it just brought things back to us. Our planet needs to be loved. Love is not a game of numbers and spreadsheets, checks, balances, and debts and contracts. It's something else. What really matters is the connectivity with nature, the connectivity with ourselves and with our home, with the planet. So how do we get there? Working Group 1 identified a number of triggers across the 4 subgroups within Working Group 1. And one was a worldview of how we see ourselves within the world, within nature. Secondly, the importance of place and its geographical, its culture, and its historical values. And then the economy. Okay, if we're going to move to a regenerative economy, it has to be socially just. And education, we identified education as being the most important action that we can take to address the climate and ecological crisis we find ourselves in. And you've seen this slide in the background a few moments ago, moving from less bad place to the place that we really want. And that really is moving from maybe a blinkered, just a purely technical system approach to one that is a living system approach, one that has reciprocity rather than just being degenerative. In 2017, the first training school took place here in Lancashire, not far from where I'm speaking at the moment. Sorry, these images may appear a bit blind. It's the best we could find. These went out on the invite at the time. We tried to promote Lancaster as a fantastic place somewhere in the Alps. That's the English Lake District in the background. But the training school, we visited 2 projects, 2 really good case study visits. We explored the Living Building Challenge. We explored the sustainability development goals. And the theme for that training school was again that Ardo Leopold quote, to teach the students to see the land and understand the land. Some of the iconic projects that featured through Working Group 1 and the training school was this wonderful project here in Lancashire, the Curtin Valley project, which is on its way to become a Living Building Challenge certified project. It's biophilic, it's a carbon sink, net zero energy, circular economy, it's used plant-based materials such as straw bales, etc. It's generating much more income, or was generating much more income for the park before COVID. Zero cement, zero concrete. It's a fantastic building. And there's a case study of this building in the Working Group 1 publication. The other project, which I think may be featured later, is the Clown Crossover project, TV Studios project in Pristina, which is a fantastic circular economy, for example. And then there's the icon of the Living Building Challenge, the RFI. This is the Bullitt Center across in Seattle, which is, I think, still probably has the title of the greenest commercial building in the world. And it exhibits so much of what we've discussed within the Restore program. And then in terms of place, the Te Kurawara project in New Zealand. Again, there's case study in the Working Group 1 publication of how we can really identify with place. But I really want to thank the people who contributed to the first publication, the working groups, the training schools, and all the way through the Restore. Some wonderful, brilliant people. So thank you for that. I'd just like to leave you with a couple of thoughts. If you haven't seen the slide before, these are known as the warming stripes, and each one of those stripes represents the temperature for that year, going back over 100 years. As you can see, we're really heading towards a much warmer, hotter environment. The two numbers there are the parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere. And just last week, we hit 421.21, the highest ever recorded. 404.64 was the amount of carbon in the atmosphere when we started the Restore program 4 years ago. I think that's quite sobering. We need to turn that round for a climate future, a climate which is safe for us, safe for the environment, etc. So we need to get from 421.21 down to 350, and 350 is the IPCC number of where we need to go. And we can all make small steps to get there. One of the steps we can make is to sign up and offset our carbons. I think within the Restore program over the 4 years, we have traveled something like 3 million kilometers. And that's one hell of an impact. There's still an impact from what we're doing at the moment through all the technology. So being able to offset that is an important contribution. And it's a small contribution that we can all make. So I hope you'll go along and sign up for that. And I just ask the question, are we brave enough? Are we bold enough, destructive enough, clever enough, and passionate enough to take all these challenges on board? And I think working with the brilliant people within Restore, yes, we are. We have all that. We have all that in spades. I was going to show a video. I'm going to change the presentation in a second to do that. I just want to look to the future slightly. This is one of the last Restore WP1 presentations. So where do we go from here? Restore from 2017 to 2021. We had this vision of creating a paradigm shift, and I think we're starting to do that. And the question we started to ask: what if a city made that shift? What if a city picked up everything we've been talking about in Working Group 1? And we've played with that through the Restore 2030, and delighted to see we're now nearly there. The Restore 2030 book is in production and should be available in a month or so. Right, now I do apologize. When I set talking, I don't think I set the sound. So I'm going to come out of this presentation and come back in and show you a video, the premiere for the WP1 animated video. So bear with me.
Cost Restore Working Group 1 is progressing a paradigm shift in built environment thinking, from sustainability to restorative sustainability and on to regenerative sustainability. This working group aims to rethink education to inspire the next generation. Restore is fostering a reconnection with nature via biophilic design, creating a sense of place rooted in local, culturally rich and ecologically sound built environments. This progress is reliant on a circular economy that moves us from limited growth to regenerative economies. Working Group 1 is looking at the key issues of sustainability, from assessing the language used to improve communication and repositioning the role of humanity in our global society, to combating expected environmental changes via initiatives such as living buildings. The objectives of Working Group 1 have been undertaken within the context of the shifting paradigm of design, construction, operation and maintenance of buildings across Europe and worldwide. We spend over 90% of our time living, working and playing in buildings, so the built environment is highly influential for sustainability. The way that buildings are designed, constructed and maintained has been a significant contributor to the climate catastrophe that we're witnessing. Buildings can become part of the climate regeneration solution by switching to restorative and regenerative approaches.
Okay, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching that. I'll take any questions and back to you in Malmö.
Thank you, Martin. I have not yet seen any questions coming up in the chat. We have another minute, but if there's nothing from the audience coming in directly, I would pass right on to Emanuele Naboni.